We're out here on a creek. I just found some flint. For flint and steel, bushcraft survival, and flintknapping. You can make survival tools out of this, and you can make arrowheads out of this. Knives, whatever you need. This. Black shirt on the creek. Excellent. Always love when I find random flint like this. Yeah!
Maybe we should test it. See how...
See the high quality hidden in there?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Black shirt.
Oh, nice.
That's the Snake Hill chert. He's good. Something marked with Native American rock shelters in this area. See, I've never been here before, I don't know. There it is. That's probably one of those giant woodpeckers. Maybe we'll see it. Sounds far away, I don't know. Let me zoom out. Quartz. It's not high quality though. This is.
Here's this.
So there is some high quality quartz in the area.
lay down and be protected from the rain and wind. Maybe have a little campfire down there.
Well, if you put a campfire in something like this, if this heats up, it might fall. So if you go back and look at some old Les Stroud episodes of Survivor Man, he talks about setting a fire in rock shelters like this and his fear of the rock splitting from the heat and falling on top of him while he's sleeping. So you're not going to want to do that unless you absolutely have to.
Oh, we've got some nice quartz crystals right here too. Oh, look at that. It looks like smoky quartz.
So there's a few caves speckled throughout this hill, and all of those are large enough to get out of the rain, get out of wind, get out of storms. And if you had a camp here, you could put the fire right in front of the cave and it would still heat up the cave, and you wouldn't have to worry about what I was talking about earlier. All along this area, there's a lot of quartz outcrops, which is very good for stone tools if you don't want to travel very far from your homes, which would be right back up in there. So they could easily just come along in the woods here, which probably wasn't like this that long ago. But you could even go back to that little tiny creek and look for quartz cobbles in the water. Crack them open, make your stone tools right from your home. So what do you guys like to see on trails? Woods roosters.
Chickens.
Chickens. So what do you guys like to see on trails? Let me know in the comments. I just need to keep that in. What do you guys like to see on trails? I'm going to show you what I like to see. The kinds of things that I like to see on trails when I'm hiking. When I'm hiking.
Is it fun? Good lord. Good lord. You're soaked.
What?
You're soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one.
Little tiny. This is the blue-gray stuff with the inclusions. You get a hammerstone. Blocky, but you could make some spear points out of that. I'm going to take this piece, but not this piece. This piece has a lot of the chalky stuff. So I'll take this. This looks good. The black stuff. Here. Hold this.
Oh, nice.
That's the Snake Hill chert. That's the really good stuff. This stuff in particular yes, this is what it came from. It's very, very smooth. Pretty good. Nice and thin. Pretty good. Let's see. This is the same stuff.
Is that a good piece?
It's not too great compared to that other piece we just found. No, that's more chalky and shale-like.
Kind of like limestone, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Tiny bit. Yeah. Hey guys, this is the last stop for me in the Catskills before heading up to the Adirondacks. And some of you might recognize this place from one of my older videos, and I'll link that right here so you can click and see. All the rock is gone. It's been washed away. So that's what I'm talking about in that video, where I say that when there's a lot of rain, it moves a lot of the rock around. So as you can see here, there's nothing here anymore. It's all been, I mean, there's even a tarp that the rocks were on top of apparently, but everything's been washed away. So right about here under the water was where I found that giant block of flint that I broke up with the sledge. The mini sledge, my favorite mini sledge. But look at this water was all the way up to there even. The cameras, there you go. See how it's all pushed down? The water was all the way up there. Usually it's like a little tiny creek here. It's all been knocked down and washed away. So that means that there's probably flint down there now. So okay, just stopped in here. Wanted to poke my head in. And I'm going to head up to the Adirondacks now. So I'll see you guys soon. Up near the Canada border. Middle of nowhere. I'm gonna explore an actual flint mine. This is not so much a quarry as it is a mine into the side of a mountain. Now this place is pretty special, pretty interesting. There's lots of glacial erratics like this one that I'm sitting on. So what I'm doing is just exploring and trying to get a feel and understanding of these ancient locations where ancient people found their toolstones, and to try to get an idea of how they acquired in this case it's a rhyolite, but I'm just going to call it flint because that's what most people understand as a nappable material. So it's not at the top of the mountain. It's actually straight into the side of a mountain. And you cannot see any of this material from the top of the mountain. It just looks like granite to me. I'll just let you guys get a feel of this place. It wouldn't have changed much in the past 10,000 years besides that city down there, that little town, little city. The river was probably flowing a lot more at the base of this mountain. After stopping for that view, I'm going to go try to explore the actual mine itself. Now, from what I know about this place, there are no artifacts here, and there is no flint left. Everything was taken by ancient people and taken with them. They did not leave any tools. They did not leave any artifacts in the cave, and they left no flint. They took all of it. You could see the little scattered remains of what's left, but it's nothing that anybody could use. But it is still really, really cool to see this location. And for me, this is probably one of the most important historical sites in the Northeast, just because of how extensive this mining was. Right here is the mine entrance, and you can see that there's a boulder holding the entrance up. And inside you could see traces of the rhyolite, of what's left of it. And you could see where, I'm going to call them stone mauls, large rock hammers were hitting the inside of this cavern. And you can see they left a support structure up right in the middle here, and then quarried straight up out the top, right above this. This is what's holding the whole cave up. And this is one of the more interesting places that I have been to. It had a very strong energy to it. A very interesting energy to this whole area. the rhyolite would have been like a blue-orange, from what I know. I'm going to splice in an artifact here of this made from this material that is now long gone. And if you think about doing this with Stone Age tools, this must have been quite an extensive project for these people over a couple thousand years of getting into this side of this mountain, probably with antler and stone tools. That's really crazy to think about, and to see that they had the know-how to leave a support here saying where they were striking and what kind of tools they might have been using.
You see it? There's a little bit there.
To make this mine. And at the top, I could see that they were hitting with a large hammer, a large stone hammer. And they left that little bit of flint right there as the support beam. And that is, as you can see, it's all weathered and freeze-cracked, and
It's just
They said they stopped.
there's not much left of it.
precarious.
I see what happened. I could see why they stopped using it. I can see why they stopped using it.
Why?
I did sit in this cave for quite a while, just contemplating and listening to the sounds. The sounds themselves were pretty amazing. The acoustics of the inside of this mine, the way the sounds from the outside of the cave coming in sounded really interesting, and there was a lot of water dripping, and the wind coming in was making a howling that I thought was really cool. To me, it looked like they were taking these out in bricks, almost bricks. But artifacts made from this material have been found all over the Northeast, and it was widely used material. It must have been really good to exhaust it, like there's nothing left, which is pretty amazing to me. They took the entire resource and used all of it. Now, they wouldn't have just been making spear points from this. They also would have been making their cutting tools, their knives, their scrapers for scraping hides, along with any other drill tool that they might have needed, or any number of things. So you can imagine how important this mine was to people if this was where they got their tools to be able to survive. So this place must be really special, really almost magical. I know it is to me. You could see in this shot that they came in through the wall and then mined back out right through the roof. And the mine itself is right at the top in the side where I'm zooming here. And that's where we just were. And I just wanted to share this location with you. I thought you would appreciate seeing another ancient spot in America. And the other spot that I wanted to check out, but we weren't able to on this trip, is Mount Washington, right there in the background, covered in snow. But we went to a campsite that actually had a fairly large creek running through it, there is a lot of quartzite, which is usable. You can use quartzite for knapping. And that in Vermont and New Hampshire, there appears to be a lot of quartzite in these creeks. So if you're looking for material to knap in Vermont and New Hampshire, you're going to be looking for quartzite. And to be able to identify quartzite, I have another video called No Flint, No Problem on my playlists, and you're going to want to check that out to be able to see what these quartzite and quartz materials look like in creeks and oceanside even. And the water is extremely clear up here, clear and blue tinted. Inside this creek was quartzite and quartz by large amounts. And when I'm investigating these creeks and rivers, I usually go in them with rubber boots, but I forgot my rubber boots, so I just went into the freezing cold water in my shorts. So, black chert.
Black chart.
I got some in my hand here.
What do you have? Ooh.
Let me test it. Yeah, good stuff.
What kind of chart is that?
Black chert. Pennsylvania black chert.
It's very ringy.
Mm-hmm.
I can see another piece.
I don't know. Let's see. It's got a lot of crud in it. So a lot of crud here. Let's try this side.
Oh, I mean, it
is flint.
is flint. Definitely smells like really strong like gunflint.
It's not really too good. We'll leave this piece.
What do we got?
Just try. Yeah,
Still
that's
freeze
it's nice, but it's freeze damaged. Here, hold on. It's very, very damaged in there. Let's see that. It's limestone-ish. Weird.
Yikes.
There'd be a lot of getting around bad stuff. Got these little things that you could use for flint and steel, bushcraft, survival, fire starting. I'll have to see if this stuff sparks, but this is higher quality.
Ooh.
I'll bring this piece to test with the flint and steel.
Maybe we should test it. See how...
See the high
crappy
quality hidden in there?
Ooh, yeah. Damn. If only that whole piece was like that.
There's this weird silty stuff mixed in it.
Let me
Okay.
see the...
Silty stuff. underneath the silty stuff. Nice. Alright, so I got this irregular shaped, kind of cruddy piece of basanite from Pennsylvania. Shoreline of the creek here, somebody's been napping down here. Is this your work? Who's been doing this? You gotta take these with you, man. Seriously, this makes some nice arrowheads. Take it with you. When you nap and you're testing rocks on the creek, take them with you. Pennsylvania napper.
A friend.
Which one of it is you?
There's a friend somewhere.
It is hot and it is getting dark. And there are toads everywhere underfoot.
They might be were-toads.
Extremely dangerous toads. Be careful. Cool. I wonder what exactly this stuff is. I have a good idea of what it is, but maybe one of my subscriber or archaeology friends or geology friends can chime in and let me know what kind of flint that is. I think I know what it is, but I'll let you guys decide.
Drop a comment.
Hey, I knew that that was a modern napper napping here. There were little percussion marks with dust. And I did see a tiny bit of copper and possibly a tiny bit of steel in that rock. If you look at my hammerstone, you could see the dust residue right there. That was on the flakes. So I could tell immediately if something is modern or not, for the most part.
Well, very recent.
Yeah, very recent. So, flint napping is the ancient skill of turning a block of stone into a usable tool, like an arrowhead or a knife. And people all the way back to before we were human did this to make their tools, to make their axes. right at the water. We just came over the bridge there, and I'm taking a quick look around, see what kind of rocks are here. Look for maybe fossil shark teeth, maybe mastodon teeth, mammoth teeth. Who knows? I don't know. Always check. There's a lot of jellyfish, I'll tell you that. Blue flint.
Really?
Piece of blue flint, yeah, with
wow.
Looks like calcite inclusions. I was reading that all types of flint in Maryland. Many different kinds. They're just really small.
Hard to work stuff. Maybe you can throw in some pictures of what that looked like.
Clip in pictures here, artifacts. I wanted to see what kind of rocks were here, what kind of fossils, what I could find on the shores. There's a lot of history under that water there. We just came over that bridge and I figured stop down here, take a look around. It's nice and hot down here in Maryland. Humid. Alright, I'm heading out. Found a bunch of jasper. I tested it.
Oh wow.
So little tiny cobbles of jasper. And I'll leave this piece, a little piece of gray flint.
Awesome.
And a really pretty shell. I like shells too. I often don't say that, but I do. Jasper.
Oh my gosh, that is so
That's
smooth.
Yeah. Jasper. There's jasper here too.
Like here's another piece. It's just
very tiny.
it's so tiny, but it's really super smooth.
I say it's nappable. When I'm saying it's nappable, I mean it flakes. I don't mean it's easily nappable. This is not easy material. This is not at all. But if you try to flake it, it flakes. So that means you can nap it. You just have to know the stone. If you want to try something rough like this, it's going to take you a lot of practice with this particular stone. But once you get good and you know how the stone works, then yes, you can nap the stone. Hey guys, I'm gonna explain some of these weapons of the hunt. These are artifacts that were found in Connecticut, and it shows the type of stone that was used, and it wasn't the best of stuff. It's around 9,500 years old. This is a later point, a woodland point called a lavana, as well as some flake tools, hide scrapers, and other tools used for not only hunting but also processing the game. And I just wanted to go over some things in this video with you. The game back in the Ice Age, the animals were very, very large, like this mastodon here, depicted in a snowy scene. This thing is huge if you stand next to it. Amazing creature. Then there's also the modern beaver in comparison to the Ice Age beaver. You could see the skull size difference. It's pretty amazing. Everything was bigger back then. And you can't tell how big this guy is. I'm just going to stick my hand in his eye and you'll be able to maybe tell a little bit, but this thing is huge, man. Now, there's some scenes here that I want to show.
In the aftermath of a successful hunt, members of this ancient hunting group had begun to butcher the fallen caribou. Like native people in more recent times, the paleo hunters were probably accustomed to making the fullest possible use of the caribou as a source of food.
Now, one of the things about caribou is people who used to eat caribou, they wanted the organs, they wanted the marrow from the bones and the fat from the animal, maybe even the brains. There's a lot of fat in a bull that's highly desired, and fat in the ribs, fat, potassium, and sodium in the tongue, and it made the tongue a delicacy, really. But the meat itself is pretty lean, and certain times of the year you could have either a lean caribou or fat caribou.
A large caribou carrying all of its winter fat might feed a small group of hunters for several days, but its soft, warm hide could last much longer if properly tanned and softened. This labor-intensive process would have begun when the animal's hide was stripped from the carcass and then scraped clean of the flesh on its underside.
A skin from which all the tissue and meat have been scraped off was dried for 1 day or 2 days. A mixture of brains and water and wrung out, and then it was stretched and soaked again, stretched and soaked again. And basically this process was repeated 2 or 3 times until finally you had a skin that was quite soft.
A finished hide with its hair scraped off might have been sewn into a tent cover or cut into small pieces for various other uses. With its hair left on, the caribou skin would have provided excellent material for bedding or for the kind of winter clothing worn by the hunters in this diorama.
A person who was wearing caribou skin clothing with the hair inside could live through winters where the temperatures fell to 50 or 60 degrees below zero with no trouble whatsoever.
But if you're in a season where the caribou does not have much fat and it's a very lean caribou, you're gonna want other animals to hunt, fatter animals, like possibly that beaver or seal or a walrus, something along those lines. I wanted to show the process of tanning a hide here. They used a mixture of brains and water to soften the skin and to preserve it.
The successful hunt has come to an end, but the people's work is far from over. With razor-sharp stone tools and experienced hands, they will now begin to butcher the fallen caribou. The people will use everything the caribou has to provide. Not only food, but also material for valuable tools. And most important is the caribou's thick, soft hide, which the people now begin to prepare for use in clothing and shelter that will keep them warm throughout the long, cold winter ahead.
You could see an ancient person here using a little billet on some Norman skill chert to make fluted points and little scraper and flake knives. These flake knives, a lot of people that think it's just throwaway flakes, were actually tools. They were used for cutting leather, they were used for cutting skins, especially when you're skinning the animal. Those flakes work really well. After those animated hunting scenes here, you could really picture what the museum here is depicting, and you could actually see the spears in flight heading towards the caribou with the fluted points hafted onto the shafts. They even went as far to show the blood on a fluted point laying on top of the caribou being butchered. And the other guy in the last scene was actually holding a caribou head. I have a friend who eats a lot of wild food, and on his YouTube channel, The Wooded Beardsman, he tests a lot of these foods that we don't really do anymore. It's kind of gross, but kind of awesome at the same time. Like he'll eat fish eyeballs. See possible ancient food sources. There's 2 channels to check out. It's The Wooded Beardsman and also his friend Jeremy, and his channel name is One Wild Crafter. Now you're going to want to check both of those guys out for traditional foods and wild edibles. Now I just wanted to give you guys a good depiction of what's going on in this section of the museum here, where you can see the caribou hunt. So I'm going to pan around a little bit and let you look. You could pause on certain scenes to see what's going on. Now this is a different section of the museum, and it's actually a Native American village. So you guys should appreciate seeing this. It really brings things to life in this section. Here is a stone knife being used to cut up these very large bass. Those are huge. And here's what appears to be a father teaching their child, or maybe an uncle teaching their nephew, how to haft stone points and how to fletch stone points. And they've got a whole bunch of arrow shafts all tied up and laying down next to them. On today's journey, we're going to identify and find a material called flint and chert, which is used in the ancient traditional art of flint knapping. Flint and chert stone was crafted to make arrowheads, spearpoints, and knives by ancient peoples, as well as other numerous tools that they relied on for survival. We will also be looking at some examples of ancient artifacts, as well as some modern replications in this video. Stick around to the end, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Have a good time, guys. Onondaga. I got this crazy piece of gravel here. Let's see what we could do with it. I will do a full napping session later, but for now, I'm just going to see if I can make anything from this. I was working on this, doing some across flaking, and there's some damage in it. I should be able to fix it. Well, that worked. Look at that. Wouldn't exactly flute, but it worked. Kind of stalled out a little bit right here, but I did get it to go a little bit. If I worked on that more, a nice point out of this stuff, just out of gravel. Keep this in mind, guys. Alright, so I have followed this creek for many, many miles now. And as you can see, there's no rocks. So, unfortunate. I don't see any on the other side, nothing. Not a thing. Really pretty though. Wow. Alright. New plan. I'm gonna go somewhere else. There is some decent sized chunks here. That's a good piece. And I'm just gonna mark this down. There's more right here. Not the best. So I just looked down here in the creek. It looks like there's a, yeah, that's a pretty good piece. It's a little tumbled, but I could probably nap that. I'll give it a try. So, creek find. Okay.
Cut that because of that thing.
There is some pretty big blocks. This goes down deep. But this is chert right here. But I'm not about to dig something out. So this is pure limestone. So there's more limestone. This I don't think is anything. I'll check it though. Here, hold the limestone. Sandstone.
Oh.
However, what is that? Looks weird. More sandstone. So a lot of sandstone here. There's some quartzite and very little limestone, but limestone is here. Where you find limestone, you can usually find flint. And we did see a few small pieces here. So this is what the limestone in this area looks like. It's usually a blue inside and a light blue white cortex weathering. So yeah, here's a nice piece of limestone right here.
Try that, because
Yeah.
after that last video.
Hear that ring?
Mm-hmm.
Usually means good material. It's cherty. It's limestone with chert. So you can nap this. You can use this. It's just rough, but it'll work, and it's very, very sharp. You could nap this real quick into a spear point or arrowhead. See, it flakes. If it flakes, you could use it. Good stuff. Good limestone here. So that is cherty limestone. It has chert in it. Look around a little bit more. So the road I was on looks very sketchy. So I made a U-turn right here, which was also very sketchy. However, this area is extremely beautiful. So I hopped out of the car and I'm going to film some of it. Look at that. I don't even really know where I am right now. Pretty. There's like nobody here. I'm just in the middle of the woods. It's a dirt road now. Up there was paved. Feels pretty wild. Really enjoying this. Oh. Look at that, guys. Little fall fish. Alright, we'll let him go. How sharp that is.
Ah, jeez. What's going on?
Quartzite.
Oh, wow. It is. It's weird.
Let's try over here. Yeah, quartzite. Look at that.
It's shiny. Kind of sugary.
Yeah. all quartzites and limestone or shale. So I don't know what this is. It's polished. No, some kind of slate shale. Just polishes up nice.